All right, I got the recording and transcription going. So happy Thursday. Welcome to Mastering RealScout Pro. I mentioned before at some point we were going to start kind of repeating some of these classes. So this class is kind of a culmination of several of the RealScout classes. So what we'll do today is we're going to look at the different lead generation parts of RealScout that we can utilize. And of course, hey Jim, obviously you have, what's, home value, which is the home value alert, which we'll go through. But then in addition, we also have the landing pages that we talked about a few weeks ago. So this is kind of like in some ways, RealScout is a lead funnel, but it's not your lead funnel per se that you would think of with other, businesses. But what RealScout does offer for our business is smart capturing. What is smart capturing? Well, it's something that entices the prospect in wanting to continue with you. So one is the home value widget, and that's we'll go through that. And then we have the lead magnet pages, and those are like those customized search pages that we will go through together. And what that looks like is it's very similar to creating an MLS search. You're looking for, let's say, single level Orange County between $1 million and $1.5 million with 4 bedrooms. You can go ahead and create that specific search in the way that you do for a single client, but you could post that on your social media. So pretty much anyone looking for a single family in Orange County between 1 million and 1.5, that'd be a pretty big group of people. So you could, instead of having to wait for an open house or to buy lists or to one by one invite them, you can go ahead and use the same widget, the same lead magnet page to generate leads on your social media. And then if you wanted to take it another level, you could boost that specific post. So what would that post look like? Well, it would look like, like we were saying, here's an example, free list of homes with pools under 1.5 million. How does that work? We'll go through it together, but pretty much you put the link on, let's say Facebook, it goes on there, they click on it, and it takes them right into RealScout. Okay. Where RealScout is very effective is getting people to sign up because it's very clean, simple. There's no ads. There aren't 10,000 pictures of us all over the page. So it makes them feel like, oh, this is something of value. So in my experience, I think several other teams in the company have had great success utilizing RealScout for this purpose. But what I noticed is in talking with everybody, not everybody's using all of the things. Mm-hmm. Like I think we're all pretty versed on the home value alert, which is, get your home value, here it is, and let's have a conversation about it, because usually it's off. Yeah. And it's good because if we give them a perfect evaluation, why do they need to call us? They could just take that and give it to their nephew who's got their license and, hey, sell my house for 1% commission. And he will. So we want to avoid that by adding more value. And the rest of this we'll kind of tap into once we get into RealScout. So I'm going to switch my screen. We're going to go into RealScout and actually look at these particular things. So in RealScout, here's your main dashboard. Let me make it a little bigger so we're not all squinting. So if you remember correctly, we have 2 separate dashboards. This top dashboard is RealScout as a collective. And then there's a second dashboard specifically to do with home value alerts. And that's this over here. So just to recap, home value alerts is the AVM, which is, what's my home worth? And there's different ways of utilizing this module. So let's start with focusing on the home value alerts. Obviously, we can go into RealScout, we can add a person and invite them to get a home value alert. We can buy a list of people from title or whatever other source, and we can add them to this database. It'll send them a message, hey, would you like a home value? At that point, the prospect can choose to either acknowledge it and be a part of it and set the account, or they'll tell you, no, I'm not interested. And then the system will automatically tell you that they're not interested, and it takes them out the list.
Well, can we add, so if we add a client, can we say it's specifically for home value alerts and
Yeah.
not for home search?
Absolutely. But what does happen is, and I've seen this many times, is you put them into the home value alert, and it does give them other options. It'll ask them things like, hey, there was a record sale in your neighborhood for 1.5 million. Would you like to see it? And at that point, if the prospect is, they may just be interested for the sake of interest, or they may be a seller, maybe they want to downgrade or upgrade. They'll start doing buyer searches all of a sudden for a seller. So that happens quite often in the system. And I think it's because the clients feel comfortable with it, because it's not Zillow, there's not a bunch of ads, it's not the MLS, it's user friendly. And it's very easy for us to kind of take a glance at what they're doing and be able to catch up with the conversation without a lot of time.
Does it give any stats? Like if you send out 100 value emails, what percentage you may accept, because they have clear global numbers?
You can look at the stats, but you have to remember, this isn't like MailChimp. You're not driving it. All you're doing is you're bringing the people into it, and you're kind of letting it do its own thing. You can get the stats. It'll tell you, for instance.
No, more like if I put 100 emails in there and 30 sign up, was that good? Or normally they have 20, or normally they have 50% sign up? You know what I mean? Of the emails they send.
Well, when you do the import, it'll give you the stats of who's unsubscribed, who actually participated.
But compared to their global numbers, I'm saying, so you know how you're doing. Is there any stats like that available?
You can't, because they're all hyper local. I mean, you could probably get it from them, but why would you want to compare yourself against another like market area?
I guess I was thinking there in Southern California, just to see what percentage of my people are signing up for a system norm of the data mix.
I mean, it's possible, but it just be kind of erroneous, because it's, where is the list from? Is it the cold list that you bought? Are these people that you know? It all depends. Obviously, if the more familiar the prospects are to you, your ability to convert them, it's going to increase. But it all depends too, because you could have a list of your farm. Maybe there's another agent that works there and it's bad mouthing you, and now the neighborhood, likes them better than you. So all those things would be factors.
Does it tell you if somebody's already signed up with the system with another agent?
I haven't seen that yet, but I would believe it would. It's a good question. I didn't think about that.
I'm thinking it will recognize them, right? Like if they
Oh, it does.
their
I mean,
email address, and the system will probably say you already have an existing account.
It will.
Oh, for them, but not for us.
Because the problem, I ran a separate problem.
Yeah.
I did a home search on there. I put an address in, and it wouldn't give me the address. It said you've already signed up. Well, I may send it to somebody at my farm who 2 weeks later wants to, they see the listing of the farm and they want to see if something changed on their home, but instead they get this red notice. It doesn't give them anything to do. It just says your email's already signed up. That I didn't like that at all. I mean, if somebody wants to go check their value,
who's that there?
That's theirs.
So
if you search your address right now, and then search it again, put your email in, it won't do a search for you. It'll reject you.
Well, yeah. If it doesn't do that, then why would anybody?
No, I'm saying you can't, like, you do a home search right now on any address, and then say it's your address, and a week later you see the listing show up in your street, and you think, oh, my home changing the value. You go back to the main page and put your address in, it won't do a home search for you because you've already done one. They won't let you do just a start over type of search like you would on Zillow. Zillow, you can go as many times as you want.
Right. Are you logged in as you? Just because what you're describing, I've never encountered in.
I maybe done a search, set your own address.
No, I've done it plenty of times, right after another.
Yeah,
in a class.
I did it, and then Terry did it.
Who were you logged in as?
I was Terry. We just went into the main page.
What main page though? Like what's the main page?
Well, like mine, I just did my main page.
Logged in under your.
Well, the reason I'm asking is
Terry did it.
You can't get one without logging in.
Right.
So I'm trying to follow where you're going with it.
This may be something we want to kind of go into later, guys, just to keep on track.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, because I will test it with you. I mean, I don't just. I believe you. I'm just like I've never ran into that ever. And we've done several right after, but it all depends on what you're logged in as. If you're logged in as the agent, it's going to operate differently than if you're logged in as a consumer account. But the consumer that gets that, they're redirected to whichever RealScout account that they've been stuck into. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. So back into RealScout. So in the home value alerts, we have the import list is one way of getting people in here. You have the capture leads page right here, which is what's my home worth. So if you click on it and then click copy link to keyword or click on the link, it'll take you to your actual page. That link, you can do a multitude of things. One of the things you could do with it is you could have, like for instance, let's see, you have on one a two-sided flyer in front of it is the market reports for nine homes. And then maybe in the back of it is you have something talking about home value, and then you have a QR code going to this page. So if they don't want to do something in front of you, they can go back to it later and get a home value. You can also do the same thing with buyers. So someone had asked me, well, how do I capture names at an open house? Do I need to use like Open House Pro or something like that? And yes, you can, but you could do something as simple as go into your RealScout, search your listing. Not what I wanted to do, but okay. Anybody have a current listing to type in? I'm going to use this Paragon way. See if it's still lists. Nope, it already sold. That's just fine. Here we go. Pemberley Passage Avenue in Bakersfield. So let's say I'm doing an open house on this, right? I could just take the link from RealScout and put that on a QR code. So what'll happen is when they take my flyer and I scan a QR code later, it goes right into the RealScout page. Then it'll ask me to log in. Now they're in RealScout. Another way that you can, track people that are coming in.
So from here, you create the QR code?
No, so let me go back a couple steps. So here you find the link for this right here. So I'm going to click view listing as home buyer. So see where it says copy link to clipboard?
Yeah.
So I'm going to click that, and I'm going to put it up here, make sure it works. Okay. Now, if I want to make a QR code of it, I can do this a couple different ways. If you've done the class with Maxa, in Maxa, you can create a QR code. However, that QR code is static, which means if this ever changes, then whatever you printed with that QR code, you can never kind of reuse. So it's recommended if you are going to be utilizing a lot of QR codes, you probably want to buy a membership to one of the companies. There are a bunch of different ones. I like one called QR Tiger because it's reasonably priced. So it's qrcode-tiger.com. There are a bunch of other ones, so you could do a Google search and search what you like. So they're all very, very, very similar. But I have an account, so let's just assume you have a place to create your QR code. I'm going to log into this and create the code. Let me switch my screen.
Eric, is this only if it's your listing? What if you're hosting?
If you're hosting and the listing agent gives you the okay to go ahead and promote it and do your own flyers, which is usually the case, then yeah, you could absolutely do this. But I would always double check to make sure because you don't want to step on anybody's toes. But yeah, you can do this because it does, like with anything in the IDX, it does show that who the listing agent is. So it's not like you're going to, sneak it past anyone.
Right. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So it does go to your real.
Yeah, because you want them to go to your RealScout because the whole point of you doing the open house is one, you want to sell the house, but also two, you're trying to get buyer leads. So you want them into your system.
Okay.
So that's one easy, non-invasive way to get them into it. Is it successful 100% of the time? No, but a lot of the times, especially with RealScout, they'll scan it, be like, okay, I'm getting what I need. I'll go ahead and give my information.
Right. Okay.
So you could use that instead of a flyer, and any info on what percentage might get turned off by not wanting to put in their info.
Well, this is what happens. If you give them information, I get your intro, they may like you, but you'll never talk to them again. So what's the point?
Right.
So if you can stangle enough for them to have, at least at that moment, go ahead.
And coming in, what happens, they go to your open house, they sign in yours, then they come to my open house, and they're gonna sign in, they're gonna see, are they gonna know the difference?
No, because they've already established an account with me, so you're kind of non-existent.
So
So whichever agent gets them into the
if
account
they want to see
first,
that property detail, will they still see it
Yes.
when they go to it?
yes, as long as the
Okay.
MLS. Yeah, so
Yeah.
for them, it's kind of seamless, and that's why I think they like it.
Mhm.
Us, it's kind of like if they defect and go to someone else, we don't know, and that's just the name of the game.
Okay.
But typically, they stick with the agent. I haven't lost anybody that's gone over to someone else at Girl Scout yet, but I'm sure they would have had.
Okay, right. So once they're in, then they go to someone else's. And they're not-
Yeah, or what usually happens, they'll unsubscribe from you and then they'll run across
Yeah.
someone else's and they'll subscribe to you. So, but you can't be in two agents at the same time, so they can't double dip. If that makes any sense. So let me switch over to the QR code creator. And again, the process for QR codes is relatively the same. Step one is going to be, we have our URL, which we got from RealScout. So I'm just going to go ahead and paste that into our QR code creator. There we go. So normally it's going to be first name, last name at realscout.com, so the search, et cetera, et cetera. It all kind of follows the same link. And then here I have a choice. Do I want to create a static or dynamic? Again, the difference between the two, a static QR code, which they're typically free. Once you set it, that's it. So most of the time it's fine, especially in open house, you just recreate a new one. But if you have QR codes, like I have QR codes on my open house signs and my for sale signs. So I have those as dynamic. That way, when I sell or open up, then I can change the direction of where that QR is going at all times. So for this one here, because I'm going to use it on a open house flyer, I'm just going to go ahead and do static. So I'm going to click generate QR code. And then this is it over to the right. I am a little dramatic, so I have a template where I like it to look like this with a circle. And most of these programs, especially this one, you can go in and kind of customize a few things, how they call these eyes, little corners. You could add a logo to the center. You can change the colors around. So you can modify it to fit whatever piece that you're going to be printing it on. So let's just assume that looks good. I'm going to hit download. And it downloads as an image.
Mhm.
So now it's ready for you when you do your flyer. You just grab this, add it to the flyer, and you're done. I've also seen, I've done this myself. I can't quantify which one's better, but you can also take the QR code, just put it on a piece of paper and set up on one of those little two-sided plastic signs. And it just says, scan here for property information, scan here to get home value, scan here to get market alerts. Where I started doing that is, and when I was working in Irvine a lot, nobody wanted to talk to me, but they would scan signs. So I just made sure that I had signs all over the place. And then what was happening is, even though I wasn't getting numbers at the open house, I would come home and I would see 11, 12, 13, 14 scans of people that went to the open house.
Somebody scans from RealScout after the home is closed escrow. They still have a flyer that their neighbor. I want to see what happened.
What happened?
Was that QR code that's static going to still go? You know how they,
Yeah.
some places they change it. Like
Yeah, like
university.
for instance, like the
Disappears.
first team website, it says, this isn't available, but it goes to a form that says, sign here, this property is not available, but click here to look at what's available.
So will it show them that property at 153 Main that says, so they can see the sale price on it if they wanted to? When they go to that QR code that you set up for that house?
That's a good question.
No.
I don't know. You'd have to try it. You try it. But usually what happens is it goes to another landing page that says it's closed, not available. Click here to find something else. All right, so let's switch back over to RealScout. Wrong RealScout. So that's the buyers, the seller side of things. You can also, for buyers, there's a few different landing pages that work for them, and also at open houses. Yeah. Bear with me here. Switch dashboards. There we go. It's community dashboards. So open house. You can also add RealScout for your buyers. So that could be something that you could have a sign for. There used to be a template for it in Market. I don't think there is one on Max talking about the pros of using RealScout. So if you go to the top dashboard and you click here where it says Market My RealScout Platform, you're going to see two different links here. So
This is for buyers?
this is typically for buyers because it's a home search. So you have two different ways to do this. One is you have just the generic, here's my RealScout. They log into it, they put in information, and then they set up their own search however they see fit. You can also do the second one, which is what they call onboarding. And it goes through, it takes information, and then it starts a wizard for them to set up their own search. The other thing you can do is you can have them come in, set up, and then you can go in after they've set up their account and then set up their searches. So they can set up a search, you can set up a search, you can edit their searches, you can see their searches. So you can work collectively on however low or high maintenance they may be.
Eric, where'd you get this pop up?
So if you go under the top, under dashboard at the very top, and then under Market My RealScout Platform over here.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you got it. They keep hiding stuff in a million different places, so it can be a little bit of a search sometimes. So in addition to these, we also have some other tools that are also landing pages. And those can be found under extras. So if you go on the left-hand side bar and go down to under more extras, you'll see landing page and widgets. So let's click on widgets. So your screen should resemble something like this. So at the heading, we have headings on the top. So simple search, that is kind of what I described at the beginning. This is your simple search. So if you wanted to do, single family homes between 1 and 1.5 million, you could set that up here. You can choose a font color and you start your search here. So let's just say we want to do a bit of Woodbridge. That pulls up a map. And I can modify or whatever I need to do here. Set up my search. That out of the way. Also, you're the top. You have advanced search. Then you have your listings. So these are more around social media. So this is why it allows you to pick your listings, custom searches, things like that. You can also use office listings. And then you have the home value widget. So this widget is in more than one place. So I would say, for the sake of simplicity, go to your widgets this way because most of what you're going to be using will all be there. And as you're modifying them, it'll show to the right on what you've updated. And then down here, we really won't go into this, but there's coding here. If you wanted to go ahead and replace your AVM on your luxury presence website, if you wanted to change out the one from luxury presence over to the RealScout one, you can do so. So let's go back to the actual website widgets and take a look. Let's go ahead and create one. So this closed forever ago, but let's just say I want to make something about this last closing. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it. And notice I can't do anything. So I'm going to click this button down here that says return to agent dashboard. Because I wasn't logged in, I wasn't doing anything. So let me switch the screen back. Why don't we start with the easy one? All right. Okay, there we go. Sorry, guys, it was glitching for a second. So we also have market activity alerts. So RealScout will do home values, search for property, and market activity alerts. Market activity alerts also has a dashboard. That's what we're looking at. And what you can see here is these are your active buyers. If there's no one disabled right now, and then you always have the stats of what's gone out, what's been open. So 220%. And let's go down a little further. And under search links, we have our widgets again. So these particular widgets are website widgets. So when it comes to, if we're using luxury presence, other than replacing the what's my home worth, the home value, these really can't be integrated in unless you have the full bore website with the multiple pages. So these website widgets can be used on a WordPress blog. They can be utilized in other places.
What is the test the market?
That's a good question. So test the market allows you to, based on their database of buyers, they can kind of give you a how many buyers would be interested at a certain price point.
Okay.
So let me go ahead and open it up for us. So the test market and give me an address.
Like any other?
Any house, yeah.
3176 landmark.
3176
Landmark.
landmark. Brad, or your home?
It's actually the other side. Oh, it's because you have an extra one. 3176.
Oh, 3176. Landmark Court?
Mhm.
Okay. Is it 3-2?
Yes.
Okay. So let's just say, what would, if you're gonna give it a target price, what would it be?
It's like 625.
Okay, so let's say our target price is 25,000. Generate. So what this is going to do is based on the buyer pool that's in RealScout, their whole database, they will tell you who's available at those prices, and there'll be a different scale. So by default, it's a 5% increment,
Mhm.
but this could show you, well, seller at 625,000, I have so many buyers, but if we go down to 593, I get another 8-9%. And as we go up, it goes lower and lower. If you wanted to adjust the increment, you could go to 1%, depending on what the market is. And if you were, I've seen these kind of valuable, if you're going after expires, this might be a conversation starter. You can hit this button and actually export it as a PDF, and you can take that with you as a takeaway. And then underneath you have kind of a heat map that shows you, what's going on in that particular area. And then another scale. And you can hide a complete week. So it gives you a little bit of ability to adjust. But that is the test market.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. So to our audience, that's remote. I know we bounced around a bit. Is there anything anyone has questions on, or anything I need to go back and kind of re-clarify? Because again, I know I bounced around quite a bit. Okay. Now the integrations, we won't dive into real deeply, but if you haven't done the integration with Follow Up Boss, definitely do that, because again, you can manage everything in RealScout, but if you have it integrated with Follow Up Boss, you're already in Follow Up Boss anyway. You could pretty much do most of everything out of it. The only time you would have to go into RealScout is if you wanted to create links or create that report like we just did.
Or add a client, right?
Correct.
How do you integrate?
So the integration process is yours not integrated yet? So the way to
I've seen the message, but I've been scared to do it.
okay, I understand. So where you would go and check is if you're in RealScout, go down here on the left menu and go to integrations. And the top widget should resemble something like this. And if it doesn't, then you just haven't turned on set up the integration.
Okay, I don't think I've set it up.
Okay. So I will give you the steps to do that afterwards, just because if we were to do that right now, we would probably take most of the time.
Yeah, that's fine.
But yeah, I'll send you the steps to do that. It's actually more straightforward than you would think.
Okay.
And just to kind of finish off on that, when you do this, and you will have a couple options once you've completed it. So let me go over those with you just real quick. There's 2 import modes. So one is only import tag contacts, and then import all contacts. And then you have tags, but that only works if you're doing the first choice. So if you have like a very intricate database, then you probably want to choose only import tag contacts, because you'll have those tagged as sellers or AVM or however you have them. Most of us aren't set up that way, so most of us will probably choose import all contacts. And then you have a couple options down here: automatic contact sync, I would recommend that be on. And what the purpose of that is if something happens on RealScout, then it'll let follow-up boss know and vice versa. Because the point of the integration is not having two sets of records.
So when you do the integration,
Mhm.
what if you already have them on your follow-up box? Will it duplicate?
No, it will not duplicate. What will happen is it'll add another section. So let's just say maybe you had some record in RealScout and you had them here. It will actually merge them together.
Okay.
And then also too, I know this isn't a class in Follow-Up Boss, but in Follow-Up Boss, you can assign like connections. So let's just say you have mom and dad, but you also help the son and the daughter buy something, and also grandma, and also Aunt Tootie. So you can, in Follow-Up Boss, you can actually tell it, okay, all of these people are related. This is the cousin, this is the uncle, this is the son, this is the brother, this is the baker. So when you're communicating with them, especially in a transaction, it keeps everybody in the loop. And then when you're looking at your notes, you know that, oh yeah, everybody was contacted. And that's kind of, again, why I kind of push for the integration of Follow-Up Boss, because Follow-Up Boss, its whole job is to kind of keep everything together. So, and it does a very good way. I think it does a very good job of it. The other choices are, the next one is delete contacts. And this is if you hit delete on one or the other, do you want to delete them both? Most of the time I would say yes, because otherwise then you're you're managing two databases separately. And the other sections, if you're on a team, you can like connect team members, transfer contacts between team members, you can turn them on and off. This next one, enable inbox apps. So that's important. When you enable this, when the system's sending messages out, it will go into your set items. So then when you have a prospect that you really haven't talked to in 6 months says, hey, I looked at those 3 houses, what do you think? You don't freak out, oh, what houses? You can go right into Follow-Up Boss. They'll show you all the houses they looked at. So then you can get caught up really quickly. And then this last choice is backfill contacts. So if you wanted to have it go through everything and fill them and make them the same, you could do that. I haven't done that just because it just seems like unnecessary. But those are the options that you have. And then if something gets screwed up, you can always come down here, hit delete integration, and restore it back to its original state. While we're in integrations, it also does integrate with Zillow, but because we have Follow-Up Boss set up, it doesn't connect with Zillow, but Zillow's connected to Follow-Up Boss, so it does communicate that way. So you may run into things where it says, well, you can't do this because you're already doing this. On Zillow, it's okay because there's a connection between Follow-Up Boss and Zillow. Spacio, that's in there, and then Realtor.com. You can integrate it with that. And what happens is when you're integrated in with Realtor.com, Facebook, what's ever happening on those particular lead sources will go into the records too. So if someone comes up because you ran a Facebook ad and they clicked on it, it'll be in their record that so you know you could source them from that. Make sense? And then just want to touch on, because we were talking about lead generation, we have company exclusives in RealScout, which is great. We have sneak previews in here, but what's something you absolutely do not ever want to do with an exclusive or a sneak preview? If you don't have a buyer broker agreement.
Give the address.
Exactly. Well, because what'll happen, you'll watch it close and you weren't the agent. So be very careful and make sure you have a DRBC before you hand out and arrange any exclusive tours. Is everybody familiar with adding someone to RealScout? Comfortable with that, or would you like me to kind of go through that process?
Can you teach us, or like that other person you said earlier, to integrate the Follow-Up Boss with RealScout? What you just said earlier.
Not in this class, but I'll send you the video and then you'll get it and all the steps. Just because if I do it, it's going to make a mess of my account again.
Okay.
But I will, Tracy, I'll email you the steps because I know I have those, so you can do your integration.
Thank you.
You got it. You got it. So also too, with the alerts, they can create the alerts, but you can create the alerts too. So what you might want to consider doing is when you are setting up a home value alert, like right here, let's just say I'm going to set up let's say I found out that Chase has investment property. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to go ahead and add it to his account. So next month, when he gets his home value alert on his main property, you'll get it on this one. And when you add a home value alert, you can create an alert with your defaults, or you can customize who you do the alert. So if you're doing something specific for someone, you can choose the latter and make any customizations that you deem fit. So right here, maybe I don't want to show this estimate. I can turn that off. Maybe I want to fiddle with the numbers. I have the ability to do so. So I can turn off estimated valuation and just leave it at a range. Yeah. I can show this estimate or not show the estimate. So you can customize this for each person. Yeah. And again, the point of these is to have a conversation. It's not going to be accurate. And it's actually better if it's not accurate, because now you can have a conversation as to why you need to sit with them at their house and go through the house and give them the real evaluation. So every time you do this, you can make these changes, and you can also do it globally, but I wouldn't. I would just do it on the individual people, because especially like, for instance, like you go into like North Tustin where you have a lot of semi-custom, it's going to be way off because this house is 1,100 square feet and this one is, 5,000. Let's go into the dashboard and let's go ahead and pull someone up here. So here's a buyer. So let's look at Farida. So if you click on her record, it'll give you her dossier. She's opened 7 emails last week. She's not interested in the listings, so she's looking but not really favoriting anything. I can go through here. I can download this whole list as a spreadsheet and set it up if I wanted to. But right now, she's still looking. She hasn't found anything she likes. But at least she's in one particular area, so that's a plus. If I wanted to make any changes with here, I could do so. I can adjust her email alerts. Like, this is her basic search now, which is interesting numbers, but 430 to 743, and she's getting it every day. Maybe I have a conversation with her and I realize that she might want to look at something else. So I can go ahead and add another alert to her, and she'll start getting that. If maybe she's an analyst and she wants market data, I could come in here and add a market alert for the areas that she's interested in. And then home value alerts, there's a couple different ways you could play with that. You could add home value alerts for properties that she's looking for, but that might be confusing. And then last is price alerts. So by default, it's enabled. But so anything price changes they looked at, it'll let them, hey, this has gone up, this has gone down, et cetera, et cetera. All right, so The last part are our alert templates. So these are the ones what I was talking about at the beginning, where you can set up these predetermined searches and put them on social media, or create a QR code and a flyer, scan here to look at, homes in Orange County between, $1 and $2 million, whatever that is that you want to divvy up. So the process is pretty straightforward. You have listing alert templates, market alert templates. You start with create a template, and you can create a new one. You can create copy an existing listing alert. So I have one in here, down here. If I wanted to copy that same alert, instead of creating a new one, I could just click create alert. Come down here, edit tags, and then I can create templates. I haven't done that yet, but everyone has the option to do so. And then you have create templates, you have create alerts with tags, and then you have generate search links. So if you want to just get going, then I would choose generate search links. So all the way to the right, and then click on create a search link. There's a little video if you kind of forget where you're at, but I'm just going to click create search link. You got to give it a name. So I'm going to call it OC Safar single level 1.5 million. And then you have a public display name. What do you want it to be there? So I'm going to call single family and OC single level. And then over here, they give you some photos that you can pick. So pick whichever one is. So this is going to be kind of like the background of the widget. So this is really bright in your face. So I'm going to choose that one, even though it has no branding. And put my title back. Tags. So if you remember, tags used to be called hashtags, and before they were called buckets. And actually, these are just, it's above level filter, above, status. So I'm just going to call this one looking SFR under 1 million OC. And what will happen is every time a lead goes in the system from this, it'll tag them so you know the source of this particular prospect.
But this thing can be for either buyer or seller?
These are going to be buyer leads because you're doing a search. The one that's the seller would be the home value alert landing page. So I'm going to click create search link. And down here, there's my link. If I click on it, it should open up to my custom landing page. And there's my single level homes in OC under $1 million. And it's not showing any 2 stories, so that's a good sign.
How long does that last forever, or do they expire this time?
I don't think it expires. It's as the properties go off the market. I mean, the search will stay in
So
effect.
if you create a link on your farm, advertise that.
Oh yeah,
What's happening in someone's track, and 2 years from now, it'll still be just.
exactly. And if you look at some of the, I've seen some really nice websites, and they're not doing any business, but they have a really nice website where it's like every community has its own landing page. Yeah, we could do that. And that's where these are awesome because they're timeless. They'll continue to work. I mean, at some point you need to bump it up to 1.5 million, but yeah. So these type of things are, I think they're a great lead generator because you set it, forget it, and leave it. And you could even, we kind of talked about the other widgets. If you wanted to really do lead generation on your own and not pay a big firm to do it, what these firms typically do is there's an ad budget, and that's an important part of it. But they have a bunch of links. Search for homes, search for this, and we've seen them, and they're very generic, but they're very effective because you're giving what the public wants. I want to search for this type of house. Click, and they will. So instead of relying and paying Real Geeks or something like that, $4,000 a month, you could spend a couple hours on RealScout, create these links yourself, and then post them.
Post them on social media.
And you may have to repeat it every now and then,
Yeah.
but it's the same link. So you could just, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. And again, the reason why I push RealScout is the numbers don't lie. It's very effective. And I'll bore you guys to death because I keep saying this, but you take dead cold leads from title, and I'm seeing between 6 and 10% of them going into it. They have no idea who I am, don't know what RealScout is, but they like what they see.
And will this work for Instagram too?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's a little trickier with Instagram because if you look at logistically, Facebook, you could take a link
Yeah,
and it goes there.
yeah,
LinkedIn too.
right.
With Instagram, you have link in bio. So one thing with Instagram with this is you could do something like do the post and then,
And then
you could,
add the link.
well, you could say link in bio,
Yeah,
and then in your bio, you could have, you could either have multiple links,
Mhm.
or you could use a third-party product that would have multiple links under your bio.
I
Or-
use
or-
Linktree,
Yeah.
and then I just have multiple.
Yeah. So for you, if you're using Linktree, that would be perfect because you would just add the different searches to your Linktree. And if you weren't using Linktree, some people use a link shortener. So in either on the image itself, you'll see like, http://bit.ly home buyers. So sometimes that'll work, but I think if you're doing
Linktree.
Linktree, that would be ideal for this
Yeah.
because you could, even with the free one, you get, I think, like 10 links.
Mhm.
I would definitely go that route. And that way, you're creating these searches in the areas that you're working in. It all kind of
Yeah,
falls in together. And then when you're doing, flyers and stuff, you could have QR codes that go to these specific searches in those areas that you're working with. And if you wanted to get like super hyper local, you could create these based on the MLS neighborhoods. But I don't know if you want to get that. I don't think we're in the market to be that laser focused on a particular
Mhm.
community quite yet.
yeah.
I mean, maybe like Irvine, if you're going to do like, Woodbridge versus West Park versus that kind of thing, but out here, I don't know if it would be appropriate. All right. Okay, everybody. Any questions?
Can you email me the integration process?
Yes, and then let me switch my screen. And the slides for this are already uploaded. And I think the recording from the last session, part of it is in there. Unfortunately, we had a computer meltdown last week, so we lost part of the class.
Mhm.
But we'll be redoing that class again sometime soon. So let me switch my screen over to our QR code. Come on, screen. There you go, buddy. Okay. So this QR code should take you to the secured Google Drive space where we have everything for these classes, the recordings, the slides, the workbooks. And then Tracy, I will email you specifically the video and the instructions for adding the integration. If
Yes.
anyone else would like that as well, let me know and I'll add you to that list as well.
Yeah, please add me, Martha Fernandez.
You got it, Martha.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thanks, guys.
So if I create a search of the 1.5 million, you click on